No Matthews, no problem. The Maple Leafs setting franchise highs in wins and points as they come out with a full 4 points on the weekend with victories over Ottawa and the New York Islanders. Let's break it all down, Dave, on today's edition of Locked On Leafs.
You're Locked On Maple Leafs, your daily podcast on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Leafs podcast, your one-stop shop for all things Leafs. I'm your host, Mike DiStefano from TSN 1050 Toronto Radio, also known as Al's brother from TSN's Overdrive and TSN 1050's Leafs Lunch. Joining me, my co-host, it's Dave Morassutti from Sportsnet, also a writer for the NHLPA. Locked On Leafs is a daily Maple Leafs-centric podcast, so be sure to subscribe for free wherever you get your podcasts from. You can now also catch us on video on YouTube. Locked On Leafs is where you can find us. If you are already joined on YouTube, thank you so much. Leave yourself a like on this video as well. As they say in the YouTube game, smash that like button, right? Did I say that correctly, Dave? Is that it? I don't know. I don't like to call myself a YouTuber. I know we're technically now YouTubers. We're sitting here with, we got like 560 subs or whatever, something like that at this point. So I guess technically we are, but there's the lingo with being on YouTube that I still just don't really grasp. But hey, we'll get better. We'll get better here, pal. But today's the day, ladies and gentlemen. Today is the day that we've officially and finally give away the Auston Matthews Tim Hortons collectible stick to one of our lucky listeners and watchers on YouTube. So thank you so much, everybody who took part in it. We had a whole bunch of comments on the last video. Every single one of you will be entered to win it. We're going to be doing a draw a little bit later in this episode. We're going to be doing that draw. Dave has some sort of comment picker simulator thing. It'll be completely random, and you'll see for yourself live who wins the stick. So stay tuned. We'll get into that in just a little bit. Speaking of Auston Matthews, Dave, were you as surprised as I was to see the pregame media availability from Sheldon Keefe and him say, yeah, Austin's not going to play today, banged up from something from last night? I was a little surprised to see that.
Yeah, that wasn't the most ideal news to get you ready and pumped for this game on Sunday night. To say that Auston Matthews it wasn't that he was missing the game. Like missing a game against the Islanders, not really a big deal. It's that he's day to day with an undisclosed injury, and we never like to hear the word undisclosed injury, like ever.
No,
that's the part that I was just like, ooh, this isn't good.
Yeah, not good, obviously. We're hoping that it's nothing too serious, and again, day to day just means maybe a game, maybe two. At this point in the year, I think that they have pretty much like they've clinched a playoff spot. They got their 50th win of the season, a record high for this franchise, a record high 106 points for this franchise. Again, a record high with this win. So there is still home ice to play for, obviously, but they got a nice little cushion now with only a few games to go. If you need to rest Matthews for a couple of games, I mean, based on how they played tonight against the Islanders, I think that you could probably feel comfortable giving him another game if he needs it. I thought they rallied together and played pretty well, everybody.
Oh, especially the guys that had to kind of step up below the top line. I mean, it was the line of Nylander, Kerfoot, and Engvall.
Awesome.
Such a great line to watch.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna get into some of the comments, and I've been reading all the comments getting into this comment contest, and one guy actually commented saying, "You guys got to give William Nylander a little more love here." And look, we'll give William Nylander love when he is doing great things for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Guess what? He did really good things for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Okay, he's gonna get a little bit of love on this podcast today. Like
I
He
agree,
was
man. It's coming. The love is coming now. It's coming. Hey, dude, perfect timing too. I was thinking this like during the game. Like, yeah, he scored the one goal pretty early on, but then he had so many good looks and like some good chances. Like he's really starting to develop those chances again. He seems to be engaged. He's playing more of that 200-foot hockey that he was playing with. He's taking the pucks to the net. He's going to the net. We're seeing the good things that we saw from Willie earlier in the year. When he's at his best, he's starting to do those again and find himself in those good places, those good spots, those good pockets on the ice for him to be dangerous. So I thought that he was super dangerous tonight. Only found the back of the net once, but he had a couple ring off the post, one off the bar. He could have had a couple of goals tonight. Ilya Sorokin, let's tip our cap off to that guy, because this could have been a 7-2 hockey game if that guy doesn't come up clutch, especially kind of midway through that second period. They were just taking it to him,
oh yeah.
wave after wave after wave. Like after that 5-on-3, there was a good 6-7 minutes of sustained pressure for the Maple Leafs, and William Nylander was right in the middle of it. You mentioned that second line also right in the middle of it. Marner had a couple of good looks. Bunting had an opportunity. Like this whole team from top to bottom, I thought really stepped up and played well tonight.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like David Cam got over a goal drought. I didn't realize it was like 24 games that he hadn't
Yeah,
scored. You and the fourth line was is like
yeah.
this is what. Now I understand that Wayne Simmons had a little bit of a rough going against Ross Johnson, which many guys usually do when they fight Ross Johnson. But I
That was a
like the
random fight, by the way. Was that
was that
not just a really random fight?
yeah, that I understand. I know that I think it was Spezza that got hit or something like that. That really riled up that Simmons felt like he had to go and fight for. But yeah, that fight kind of just came at a point where I'm just like, okay. I didn't feel like the Leafs really needed it. I didn't feel like the Islanders were really, imposing their will physically on the Leafs.
Yeah.
But the Leafs also had, they looked a little off at points in this game, and they kind of just needed a little bit of a reboot. And when the reboot happened, it was like almost like when your computer crashes and you reboot, and it's just like, oh, it's back to life again. It's all good. Nothing went wrong with it. And that's what happened with those goals and all those chances. Like you mentioned Nylander, and I lost track of how many times he was in at the net, going up for plays, redirecting pucks, and
Yeah.
setting up plays. Like it was just a barrage of attacks,
Well, I
especially
believe
in the
you
second period.
I believe he finished with a game high 6 shots on goal, and he even had like a couple that didn't go on net. Like I said, he had a couple that he was able that like just rang off the bar. I'm trying to see exactly how many shots he had. I guess I won't say that, but if we can look up the individual numbers on him, ended up with 6 shots, and all. What was that? He must have had a really high Corsi percentage too, because they were just firing the puck on net the entire time. 18. So like he just kept firing the puck on net. Shots for 9-5 while he was out there. So 65% shot share for actual pucks on net. So yeah, he was outstanding tonight. What's this? A 60% expected goal for rating as well. For him, but all around a pretty solid game. You talked about this was night 2 of a back-to-back, right?
Yeah.
And the Islanders have been playing much better hockey of late than they were earlier in the season. Definitely not an easy 2 points to go out and get tonight. But I felt that they had a pretty good pushback, though. Like the Islanders are a pretty tough team, and they've used their size to their advantage the last couple of years to go deep into playoffs. And like they play a playoff brand of hockey. I thought the Maple Leafs did pretty good to kind of match that. And I thought that they were, mixing it up a little bit. Labushkin was mixing it up. You had Riley. Obviously, we mentioned the fight, but also just guys, Mikheyev, super aggressive on the forecheck. I thought a big reason why that second line there, too, of Engvall and Will and stuff, they're just super aggressive on the forecheck. And that's really when this team is so strong, is when they're doing that and they're sustaining all that offensive zone pressure. And it's that secondary forecheck as well that allows them, even after they establish possession, so they get a shot, it's going back and retrieving that rebound and keeping possession for the team. That's when this squad is at their best. And I thought they did that extremely well tonight, even against guys like, Big Z, Zdeno Chara, who's a big boy, and they're able to kind of still made sure that they're able to get pucks, retrieve pucks. Noah Dobson, Andy Green, even against Anders Lee going into the corners, they're able to get pucks. So I thought that they had a nice job physically as well, pushing back against a pretty hard team to play against in the Islanders.
Yeah, and look, and you mentioned Sorokin too. Like he's been playing really well. I think he started for the last 6 games, which like for a team that's got a perennial starter like Varlam, I think that says a lot
Yeah.
about how Sorokin has been. Like, and we have seen the Leafs. We've mentioned play down to their opponent. Well, these were two opponents who they're not necessarily bad teams. They're not great teams, but they're also teams that have failed to meet expectations in many ways. And they're, teams that the Leafs should beat, and they did. And those are the ones that, you know what, they're not always going to look pretty, but it's how you get what's the result at the end. The result at the end was 2 points, well, 4 points if you count the weekend games. Like even the Ottawa game, to be down 3-1, come back and win that game in overtime, or look, it was a little bit of that one was a little bit of a more of a heartbreak, a hard attack scenario with Stutzle playing the way he did.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing is you maintain that 4-point advantage against the Tampa Bay Lightning right now.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. You
Oh,
did.
sorry, now it's 6.
Well, it's 6, but do they have a game? They may
They
have
do have one game in hand.
Yeah, and I mean they played each other. I think later this week. I want to say they play each other, or perhaps next week.
No,
There's still
next
another
week,
game. There's
28th,
still
I
another
guess.
game. They play this week on the 21st.
21st. Wow.
Yeah, so Thursday. So they got the Flyers on Tuesday, and then on Thursday they got the Lightning. So I mean we're down to the final 6 games of the season here, Dave. 6 games left in the on the year. They've got the Flyers, the Lightning, the Panthers, the Caps, the Red Wings, and then it all finishes up Friday, April 29th against the Bruins. So, there's not there's not a lot of time for them to blunder here, to lose home ice. So if they can get that win against the Lightning on Thursday, that would probably seal it, I would think. Maybe not mathematically, but pretty well would put them in the driver's seat to earn home ice advantage in the Atlantic Division. But there's another game against a non-playoff team in the Flyers that they're going to have to get through first, and we know typically how things go against those non-playoff teams. So I don't want to go ahead too much to talk about what was going to happen on Thursday when there's another game in between that one against them. All right, before we continue with this podcast, before we get into the 3 stars of the game, Dave, why don't you tell us about one of today's show sponsors, and that's Athletic Greens.
Yes, if you're looking to improve your daily life and how your gut health, you want to get more energy, you want to optimize your immune system, and you're not the biggest on taking pills or vitamins, Athletic Greens might be the thing for you. So, what is this stuff? With one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source, superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you get your day started right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, aging, all of those things I just listed. So, Mike and I both got Athletic Greens. We got to try this out, and I've actually added a few extra things that have come my way. It's so simple. It's one scoop into water every day, and it does make a huge difference with how my day is going. I'm sure Mike feels the same way.
Yep.
Why is it important to take these multivitamins? Tons of people take some kind of multivitamin, and it's important to choose one with high quality ingredients that your body will actually absorb. Athletic Greens is a small micro habit with big benefits. It's one you can do every single day to take care of yourself. And if you get a subscription with Athletic Greens, it comes with a year supply of vitamin D, which is so important to add in these. Well, now that we're going from winter to spring, we still got to get that vitamin D. The sun isn't at its full strength right now, so we have to make sure we get all the sunlight that we can. Athletic Greens has over 7,000 5-star reviews, recommended by professional athletes, trusted by leading health experts such as Tim Ferriss and Michael Gervais. So right now it's time to claim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year subscription. Okay, they're going to give you a free 1-year supply of supporting vitamin D and free 5 travel packs. That's free 5 travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/NHL network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. I'm Mike DiStefano. Alongside me, my co-host Dave Morassutti. Dave, we will be doing the giveaway a little bit later on in the show for the Auston Matthews stick, but we did get a little bit of an update here. It's not really much of an update, to be honest, but Sheldon Keefe has now spoken to the media, and we're getting some tweets about what he said. This is what Keefe had to say on Matthews' injury. Didn't disclose any specifics. He just said, given the time of year and how minor it is, he's going to push past it pretty quickly. We'll just leave it like that. So that's what he says. So if this was a playoff game, he's certainly playing. They don't want to take risks, but he did use the word minor. I guess that is a positive thing, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, usually when Sheldon Keefe is giving bad injury news, he would say, yeah, this guy's going to be out for a while, or it's going to be something that's going to keep him out of the lineup for a bit. Like, usually he's pretty honest about those things. So to hear him say that this is something he can likely push past, that's something you want to hear, because we know that there's certain injuries that you can play with, and there's some that, you know what, we can't take a chance on it. So it seems like let's not make things worse. They have some time to give him a little bit of extra rest, give him some time to see how he is for the Flyers game, and then they'll go from there.
I really, really hope that it's not his wrist. I hope the wrist is not bothering him again. That would stink.
That would not be ideal, especially considering surgery is like last resort for a lot of these guys, because
he just had it this past summer. I just hope it's not a re-aggravation, but
exactly.
I don't know, but hopefully it's nothing. Honestly, again, maybe it's just general soreness like we saw with Jack Campbell, and then he's come through after that general soreness with a couple of good starts. I thought Jack played well tonight. He didn't have to be dynamite. I think there was only 5 high danger chances on him tonight. And regardless, didn't even have many. He faced 29 shots. So he stopped 26 or 27 to 29. So he was pretty good tonight. He didn't have to be elite, like I said, but he made the stops when he had to. And that's a guy who, I guess, took the night off and then battled through it. We already know that Jake Muzzin missed the weekend, and kind of unclear what his situation is as well. But in terms of Auston Matthews, we got to hope and pray for the best, because he's clearly the best player on this team, and they're much better with him in the lineup than out of the lineup. That said, pretty sure they have a pretty solid record with Matthews out of the lineup. Funny enough, I don't understand it, but it seems like the whole team really rallies when he's gone. It becomes a very much a what's the term, like, to replace by like a
we're committee, right? You're doing it by committee.
Yes. It's more of a committee by basis. I don't know why I can't get the phrase out of by committee basis to replace him. You don't replace him; it's done by a committee. There we go. Finally,
well, and that's what I know. What Jack Campbell said that after the game. He's like, "No offense to everybody on our team, but not one person is going to replace an Auston Matthews."
No,
so
absolutely not.
It has to be done by committee, as you are trying to alliterate.
Thank you so much for finally getting there. That was just rattling my cage. All right. Let's get to the 3 stars of the game, Dave. We can do 3 stars of the weekend, I suppose. We also want to include the win against the Ottawa Senators. And I'm going to, and with my 3rd star, because I'm going to give it to Mark Giordano. I mean, the guy actually has played great in both of the games, but he had the game winner in the game against Ottawa too. But even tonight, I thought he was electric. And like if you look at the underlying numbers, he had a solid game for the Maple Leafs tonight. In terms of like, yeah, I think for all defensemen, he had the best shot share out there on the ice. On the ice for 13 shots, just 5 shots against. So they weren't getting much on net when he was out there. And that's pretty impressive considering that there was just a 33% ozone starts. So they were starting him in the defensive zone, starting him in the neutral zone and whatnot. So, and was it 6-2 were the high danger chances when he was out there on the ice as well. So Mark Giordano for me was just, he was an ox out there for the last couple of games. And not only, with the puck, but off the puck, just boxing guys out, going into corners, making smart, simple plays, breaking the puck out. He's doing a lot of the little things that all really matter in the game. And it's just, I understand now, like, why this guy has had success in his career for so long. He just does so much of the little things right. And when you do everything right, it all looks like, I don't want to say perfect, but it just all gels, man. It looks crisp. That's the word I'm looking for. Everything he does looks so crisp.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a great addition to this team. Like we talked about guys who the Leafs have brought in and they haven't panned out. They haven't had the production that is expected of them. He's pretty much almost outproduced almost every recent trade deadline pickup the Leafs have made. Like Nick Foligno, he has definitely I haven't forgotten about Nick Foligno, but I have certainly my thoughts of going after a deadline rental have changed a little bit with the Mark Giordano acquisition. Let's just say that.
Yeah, well, last couple of games said to kind of step it up a little bit too. He's averaging over 20 and a half minutes of ice time. He's got 4 points over the weekend, a goal and 3 helpers. So Gio doing it all on the offensive side, on the defensive side, and for a couple of second round picks, yeah, I think that's well worth it. Well worth it. Your third star.
So my third star, he didn't necessarily put a lot on the scoreboard, but I feel like he's had some really solid games, especially with now Drake Muzzin getting out and him having to be put into the lineup. And that's Timothy Liljegren.
Yeah.
He didn't have the best game against Washington. We mentioned that he was a -2 in that game, but it didn't really matter too much because they won that game 7-3. But in the last 2 games, I think Sheldon Keefe, especially in this game, Sheldon Keefe decided, I'm going to put Timothy Liljegren with Morgan Rielly because Ilya Lyubushkin, he had that weird got in front of Campbell on that first goal, didn't really play the man properly on that one. But then Timothy Liljegren gets placed with Morgan Rielly. Morgan Rielly makes a boo-boo that leads to a breakaway, and who's the one coming back to back check and basically make that breakaway null and void? And that's Mr. Timothy Liljegren.
Yeah.
This is an important thing. To see him continue to step up in this way is crucial because it shows that if Jake Muzzin can't be healthy, I got no problem with Timothy Liljegren playing in the playoffs. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what they end up doing with that blue line because they're certainly they've got 7 legitimate NHL blue liners and potentially 8 once Sandin gets healthy.
And he's skating, so he's not far off.
No, he's not. He's not far off at all. It's just I'm not exactly sure what this lineup is going to look like when they're out there. I'll say this though. Timothy Liljegren in tonight's game, when he and Riley were out there on the ice, it wasn't favorable. The numbers were not favorable out there.
He's better with Gio, I would say.
He's always better with Gio. Gio makes everything so good. But they were on the ice for 9 scoring chances against and expected goals of 9.
I'm just making the play on the one play there that he did that kept the goal out of the net.
Let's give him some love on that play because absolutely that was a solid play for him to go back and break up that play for sure. It's funny. He played almost 9 minutes with Mo, and then he played about 5 minutes with Gio. In the 5 minutes with Gio, they had a 70% shot share and and an 83% expected goals
That's pretty good.
compared to the 9% with Morgan Riley. Interesting. My second star of the game or of the weekend, I suppose. I'm going to give it to Mitch Marner. Mitch Marner was electric in that game against the Senators. I mean, this guy with the puck on a stick was doing some like magical things, like the way that he was dangling, putting stuff off his feet, kicking. He had a one-touch pass tonight too off his foot. Did you see that? Like
Yeah.
the guy was just making unbelievable plays. And honestly, Dave, I think we can get into this tomorrow a little bit when we have more time to dive into things here. I'm almost getting ready to say that I think Mitch Marner might be the best winger in hockey, man. He
Ooh.
might be the best winger in hockey. I What he is doing offensively is the type of production that quite literally nobody on the face of this planet has done since the new year. He leads all forwards. He leads all players in points since the new year. He's got over 30 goals this season. He's not a goal scorer. He kills penalties. He's a two-way guy. He takes the puck off your stick with ease. The guy does everything. Everything. But anyways, I thought he was exceptional this weekend as well, as he always is, and scored both nights and, ended up with a couple of helpers as well. I thought that he, again, was fantastic. So I couldn't leave him off of or actually, no, he scored 3 goals tonight, or 3 goals, scored twice yesterday.
Yes.
I couldn't leave him off of my list, I guess. So I put him there at number 2.
I had him at number 1 for all the reasons you stated. I also think I wonder how long Auston Matthews has been dealing with this injury,
Yeah.
because Mitch Marner has really taken, like, when they needed a spark against the Senators, it was Mitch Marner doing the work.
Yeah.
A lot of the work. So that's why I had him as my number 1 star. Number 2 star, so we're kind of going a little bit of reverse order here,
All
was
good.
William Nylander. And he's
Mm.
probably your number 1 star.
He was my number 1 star, but I also just like shout out to that whole line. Like, I thought that line was just like incredible all around, but like Willie was certainly the star of that line. So yeah, Willie was my number 1 star. This guy's catching fire at the right time, man. Let me tell you. I guess he's got like 7 or hold on, I wrote it down. 7 points his last 9 or something like that. 7 goals in his last 9 games. So whether they're coming on the power play at 5-on-5, he's starting to fill the net again, and it's really really good to see. And I just saw actually David Alter tweeted out a really cool little quote that Willie had on Engvall, and those guys, they're playing really really well right now together. And this is what Willie had to say to Pierre Engvall earlier today. We were having dinner in Ottawa, and I said it was just nice to uh, see the way he's grown as a player coming from last season, the way he's excelled as a player this year. Obviously, being a Swede, you want to take care of the Swedes around you. I've just been proud to see the way that he's grown. He's showing different aspects of getting better every night. He's great in the PK, forecheck, winning pucks back, and obviously scoring goals. He's been huge for us, and he has. He really, really has, which is why I wanted to give just that second line for tonight of Pierre, Kerfoot, and Kerfoot also was spectacular tonight. Kerfoot set up Engvall's goal. It was just a beautiful, like, no-looker sauce right over the stick and right onto the tape, and easy backdoor kind of tap in for Pierre Engvall. That one he was definitely not going to put wide. And the first goal the Maple Leafs scored on the night, and just in general, I thought that they were buzzing pretty well through the whole game. So the second line is like my first star, but Willie as a whole is really starting to pick up right now, and that is really good for the Maple Leafs. Really
Yeah.
good.
Here's another thing about William Nylander. I think people don't like. We've heard a lot of criticism for how William Nylander has played and the reason, and him not being with Tavares. He finished the month of March with 14 points. He has 11. Actually, I don't know if this is updated with tonight's game, but he had 11 points in 8 games in April. But I think the more important thing, when William Nylander is getting back into Sheldon Keefe's favor a little bit more, he's getting the ice time to prove it.
Yeah.
I think that's where William Nylander is getting back to the player we know he is. It started with that game against the Capitals where he's like, here, I'm here. Don't worry. I'm the silky Swede that can do all those things. And he did it. I think the impressive thing is when he's been thrusted into this role of having to play second line center, he hasn't always excelled at it. But tonight, I was actually kind of surprised Kerfoot wasn't down the middle.
Yeah.
That's usually where Sheldon Keefe goes. For Sheldon Keefe to put Willie at center, I think it says two things. It was a challenge to Willie, but it was also, I think maybe a bit of an ode to the way he's played lately.
I think it's definitely a challenge. I mean, I think this was to get a look for just in case something happens in the playoffs again, like we saw last year where John Tavares was out after game 1. Like if something like that happens again, what combination do you like for someone who could fill in? And I think you want to get a look at Willie against a playoff caliber team or someone who plays a playoff style of game like the New York Islanders. So I think A, was a challenge. B, it was an experiment. It was a bit of I want to get a look at what this looks like here. You know what's hilarious about William Nylander and John Tavares, the both of them? Think about the amount of slander that these guys have gotten over the course of the season. And look, we're at fault as well. We live in a world where, to pull the curtain back, we cover this team on a daily basis. We have to talk about this team day by day. So it's often looked upon in a very micro level as opposed to the macro whole season. We're usually looking at it day by day, game by game, week by week tops.
Yeah.
But if you pull back, you look at what those two have done this season, both Nylander and Tavares have 74 points in 75 games. They're almost point per game players, and we have treated them like they're trash over the last 2 months.
Yeah. I've been the defender of those two a little bit more just because, look, have they been elite superstar players? They haven't been superstars. Have they been
a lot of those cookies on the power play? Am I not to?
Yeah,
to
they haven't been dominant. They haven't been dominant, but they haven't been outright I want to trade all of them from the team.
Well, when you look at Nylander and just why I bring up the whole power play situation, that's where he's really been dominating a lot of even recently, tonight's goal was on the power play. A lot that he's been scoring has been on the power play. He has less points at 5-on-5 than Alex Kerfoot. Funny enough, Kerfoot has outproduced him at 5-on-5 this year with 46 points. Who quietly got his 50th point of the season tonight as well.
7th Maple Leaf to be at 50 or more points most in the NHL.
Wow. Yeah. That was a quiet 50 for Kerf, wasn't it? Another guy who just goes about his business night in, night out. I mean, as much a plus minus really isn't a great stat, but he's a plus 19. It's not bad. Not bad for the kid.
Nope. Can't really complain about Kerfoot. I know some people have looked at Kerfoot as one of the guys that was kept around from the expansion draft. I think he's done enough to say that, and his comments after the game too, of saying everything we're doing right now doesn't matter until the playoffs. He gets it.
Yeah, they all get it, man.
They all do.
One goal in mind. There's one goal in mind for this team, and that's to have success in the playoffs. Not necessarily, no one said Stanley Cup championship, but they keep saying we need to have success. And it's true. One step at a time, get that success, win your first round, then move on, try and win a second round, then try and win a third round, and then you can go for the cup. But you got to get through rounds 1, 2, and 3 first. I think they understand that. Everything that's coming out, whether it's Auston when he hit 55 and came out and said, yeah, individual records, these are cool to be in the breadth of these guys, but we're not done yet. Marner, same thing. Yeah, having a career year, but we're not done yet. Kerfoot, yeah, these records are awesome, but we have one thing in mind, and that's to have success in the playoffs. Sheldon Keefe tonight, they said, hey, you just set a new record. You're setting franchise records with your 50th win, 106 points on the year, and they say, yeah, these are nice, but they don't mean much. Until we have that playoff success, who cares? At the end of the day, that's their mentality. That's their mentality. They know that the regular season, it's nice to have all of these accolades, but if they don't follow it up with a good postseason, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. And it's true And hopefully they've learned to hate losing enough where they can actually have themselves a successful first round of the NHL playoffs. Dave, do you
I
have a comment on
I
that before
I
we
hate to
hit our
say
next
it.
one?
I know we can't play the song because of YouTube copyrights, but I got the song that don't impress me much going in my brain right now. As you said, everything right there.
Yep, yep, yep. I bet it did. All right. On the other side, we will finally be giving away the Auston Matthews Tim Hortons collectible stick. Funny enough, on the night where he did not play. Don't know if we jinxed it, but that's going to be happening anyways. But before we give anything away, we got to tell you about one of today's show sponsors, and that's betonline.net. It's your number one source for all your betting stats and sports info. Find all your latest sport developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs, the NHL playoffs, and the start of Major League Baseball season. Well, Bet Online is your continued source for all your sport wagering information from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. Bet Online, it's where the game starts.
And we're also going to look at our other friends over at Built Bar. It's this time of year where we're all trying to keep to our New Year's resolutions. So why not give Built Bar a try? As they are definitely something that helped me stick to my resolutions. Have you tried the puffs? If you haven't, you're missing out on one of the best Built Bars out there. They're the first ever protein infused marshmallow. They're fluffy, they're marshmallowy. They're not just a protein bar, they're a treat, and they're covered with 100% real chocolate. Yes, that is 100% real chocolate. They have many great flavors like yummy cinnamony churro, coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie. So good. These are going to be your new favorites. So make sure you go to built.com and scroll down to the macros chart. It'll blow you away. High protein, low calorie, high fiber, low carbs. We all love to hear all those things. So if you compare it to a candy bar, which has a roughly 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs, most Built Bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. At Built Bar, they're all about the taste. They make it delicious first, then they figure out how to make it healthy. And how about you? They pull it off every time. So make sure you go to built.com, use the promo code LOCK15, and get 15% off your order. That is Lock15 for 15% off at built.com.
Also, Buona Pasqua to everybody today. Happy Easter. We went, almost 40 minutes into this pod and didn't say that. We're awful, awful Italians, Dave. They're going to cut off our access to Woodbridge for not wishing everybody a happy Easter. Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. I'm Mike DiStefano, Dave Morassutti with me. We are your hosts here at Locked On Leafs, the best daily Maple Leafs podcast in the land. Make sure you are subscribed wherever you get your podcast from. And you can also find us up on YouTube now as well. And speaking of YouTube, we hit 500 subscribers about a week ago. It was last Friday, not this past Friday, but the Friday before that. And it initiated our Tim Hortons Auston Matthews collectible stick giveaway. And it is time, Dave, to give this bad boy away. Do we want to start with reading some of the nice comments, though? Before we get to the actual giveaway, why don't we look at some of the comments? Because some of you guys, first of all, thank you so much for listening to us on a daily basis. We've gotten a lot of support from some family and friends, but also from some total strangers who just listen to the podcast. Just some diehard Leaf fans who, whether you're from Toronto or you're from out of province, you're from the States down below, or even across the pond. There's a lot of people who love the Maple Leafs, and sometimes you're in a situation where you just don't get that much content if you're not in the GTA or you're not in Canada, and you have to rely on other I guess podcasts or other websites to get it done. And thank you for choosing us every day to find out what's going on at the Leafs. We strive to bring you the latest news and what's going on, and try and give you our best opinions on what's going on with the team. But thank you so much to you, the listeners, for listening along. And our appreciation here is this giveaway. So, Dave, why don't we check out some of the comments first, and then we can do the giveaway shortly as well.
Yeah, I'm going to look at this one that's staring right at me from Shane Small. where he correctly gave us the code word for the stick. So good job on that one, Shane.
Oh, yes. By the way, it was.
Yeah, go ahead. You want to explain that one?
No, you explain it. Go ahead.
Okay, so I know many of you are wondering probably why it says Matthews for Rocket and Rocket. This is a little trick, little tricks you do for Mike and I to make sure that you guys were really listening, because it's very easy for people to go to kind of finish the sentence before it happens. And we saw some of you guys trying to do it in prior shows. So Mike decided to throw a good old little curveball, more of like a R.A. Dickey knuckleball at
Yes.
it. And he went with Matthews for Rocket and Rocket. And I know when Mike brought this up when we were going through the things, I'm like, it sounds weird, Mike. He's like, yeah, but imagine how many people it's going to throw off when we go with that. Luckily, many of you were not thrown off by it, and we have the comments to prove it. Now, this one from Shane Small here. A mate of mine got me into the NHL in the beginning of the year after telling me how to watch the All or Nothing Amazon series, and he is an Oilers fan. You got to get new friend, Shane. I fell in love with the Toronto Maple Leafs from there. Well, you picked misery to get into the Toronto Maple Leafs. That you're right at home. And I watched every highlight of the game, and I wake up and listen to your podcast on the way to work every day. Love the fact Matthews is ahead of Drysdale. Great banter with my mate. Shane here from England in the UK.
Love it. Can you bring these up? You can bring these up, right, for YouTube folks?
Yeah, I'll do that right now. We got another one here from Stuart Kelly. He also predicted the Matthews for Rocket and Rocket as well. Love the show. Avid listener from Wales.
Let's go.
Greetings from Mexico. They're gonna be the first Stanley Cup playoffs I am ever going to watch. Follow the NHL from Mexico was almost impossible. Love your pod. So please keep doing the work with all the passion and love for the Leafs. You bet, homie.
Thanks, buddy.
And he was one of those who thought it was going to be a different phrase. So he luckily stayed into it and got it right. Karen Chalmers greetings from Scotland. Loving the podcast. Keep up good work, lads.
I got Scottish roots, so appreciate that. I do.
Oh my God. There's just so many here.
Too many.
This one here from Stephen Oliver. I'm really happy I came across you good folks. I brought my little guy from Sudbury to his first game for his 6th birthday to the game against the Sabres on March 2nd. Which, in my very biased opinion, was their worst game of the year. Sorry about that, Shane. Steven, sorry. If my comment is randomly selected by the stick, it is going to my son for having to sit through that BS. Was there more? Oh, so that BS game. Thanks again, gents. Like, they're just, I'm like looking through. It really gets me seeing all these. Look at this. Hi, guys. Love the show. Best wishes from Sweden.
Sweden. Oh, must be a Pierre Engvall fan.
If he's not a Pierre Engvall fan, I mean, he's got many other Swedes to choose from. So
England, there's another one from England there.
Look at this, like so many. I did years ago. Sundin Roberts, like back from the Sundin and Roberts days. That's like when I was growing up.
Yeah, me too. New
York. Oh yeah, New York. We had Sean Connolly from New York was another one.
Oregon.
Like, look at this, guys. Like, we're not just a Toronto pod. This is the thing about Leafs Nation. I've always attested this. We are an international hockey market.
Dude,
we're not just a Canadian market.
You go into I was talking about this with Frank Corrado, and Frank's a guy who, played for the Maple Leafs, but he's played in other teams. But when he was with the Leafs, he didn't get on the ice a whole lot, so he was able to kind of look around the barn. And he said, there's no team that travels like the Maple Leafs. Like, they got fans in every city. You go to a Buffalo game, like growing up, I went to Sabres games to watch the Leafs. It was all blue shirts. Did you see the amount of Leafs jerseys? It was like a home game Saturday night in Ottawa, more than usual. It was insane. The amount of Maple Leafs fans that made the trip up to Ottawa to watch them in that game. A whole bunch.
Oh, look at this. A Mississauga boy listening from Phoenix, Arizona. Like,
there you go. ASU, maybe, perhaps.
And we got the usual bots in here for a couple of them. But yeah, no, you guys have been great. So here we go. I guess it's time.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So we got the YouTube random comment picker. Now it went through all the comments, made sure it picked up all the ones that had the keyword right. How many times do you want to do this? You're going to just do one and done? Or you want to do it a couple of times?
Let's do it 3 times.
3 times? Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
third time's the charm.
if your name comes up, we'll give you a special shout out. So at least you know you were in the running, and maybe we'll keep you in mind for a little special fan shout out as a little extra incentive to keep you listening.
By the way, if you're listening on audio, we're doing this on video, so you can go check out the Locked On Leafs YouTube page, and you can watch us do this, the random comment picker thing, live on YouTube. And for our YouTube folks, you'll be able to watch it right now.
All right, so here's the first one. This is like poker. First 3 are unfortunately going to be tossed away. The first 2. Gianluca Amatangelo.
At least it was a former Paisan.
All right, sorry about that. Don't send your Italian friends after us. All right, here comes the next one. Scott DeBoer. Any relations to Pete DeBoer?
I don't know. Perhaps.
We might
And the winner
is
of the Auston Matthews stick,
Ace Blindfire. Much love from London, England. Keep up the stuff, lads. Oh, we are definitely sending this stick across the pond.
Yes, no offense to anybody else, but I really wanted somebody from across the pond to get this, because if you live in Canada, you could have went and got this yourself. Let's be honest, you could have. And you could have got it. I don't know, what were they giving these away? I think it was like last year during the playoffs. So almost a year ago now. You could have got it, but people over in England, I don't think they're giving these away in England. I don't know if Tim Hortons is out in England. So this is certainly going to be something that I'm sure was it ACE Blindfire. Ace Blindfire. Is it Ace Blindfire? Is that what we're going to go with?
I believe so.
That would make sense. Ace Blindfire. We will get in contact with you. You are officially the winner of the Auston Matthews Tim Hortons collectible stick. Congratulations. And thank you to everybody for subscribing to the pod, listening to the pod, being a fan. Leafs Nation's the best, man. It's the best in all of hockey. And I'll be real excited to send this thing across the pond to Ace Blindfire. Congratulations.
And guys, this isn't the last giveaway we're gonna do. Nope. We're gonna do another one once we reach 1,000, but we might have some bonus ones. First off, I'm seeing that the Locked On Senators are doing a bunch of giveaways, and we can't let the Senators podcast get over us in terms of being nice and charitable to our lovely listeners. So I got some other Leaf stuff that I've saved over the years. I have duplicates of. We will definitely consider doing where we'll do some random picking of subscribers and comments. So don't worry, we're gonna have lots of swag to give out. So please stick around for that.
Absolutely. And our next target, I suppose, for another giveaway is, unless we like I said, we could do some random ones. It doesn't necessarily have to be, but we do have a pretty big one. We don't exactly have the prize locked in officially, but it is a bigger prize than this, and we'll be giving
both in size and weight.
Yes, and weight and value and everything in between. We will be initiating that giveaway. We hit 1,000, so we get to 1,000 subscribers. We'll get to another giveaway, and as we get inch closer to that subscriber count, to that number, we'll let you know what it is. I'm hoping that we can get there by, let's hope some point during the Stanley Cup, or at least the Leafs playoff run, for however long it is. Hopefully it's Stanley Cup bound, but hopefully we can get to 1,000 for however long the Leaf playoff run is, and y'all can rapidly send this podcast to all your friends. Yeah. Send it to all your friends, because if all of your friends, at least within Leafs Nation, if you're a Leaf fan, you're not listening to this podcast.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Yes, as my Nana would say. She said it a few times to me this week.
Probably. All right. That's going to do it for us here today. Once again, congratulations to, Ace Blindfire? Ace Blindfire. Congratulations. We will get in contact with you, or you can try and get in contact with us. We'll figure it out. But you will be getting this Auston Matthews collectible stick. Thanks to everybody else as well for listening and supporting the show. You can subscribe to the podcast wherever you find your podcasts and receive daily Maple Leafs content. Follow myself on Twitter at Mickey_Canuck. Follow Dave at D_Morassutti. Follow the show at Locked On Leafs, and also subscribe on YouTube. That's Locked On Leafs on YouTube. Leave us a comment, a like, subscribe, all that YouTuber mumbo jumbo that they say. We'll be back with another episode for y'all tomorrow. We'll tee up the game between the Maple Leafs and the Philadelphia Flyers. Let's all pray and hope that Auston Matthews is good to go. But until then, keep it locked right here on Locked On Leafs.